Hi, and welcome to The Money Factor. I'm Ian Varley, CEO of Eagle Business Credit. Today I have with me Kelly Elson, member of the Eagle team, and we're going to be talking a little bit about small business entrepreneurship and growing your business, especially during recessionary times. So Kelly, thanks for being on the show. You're a really important part of the marketing team here at Eagle. Appreciate all the work you do for us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
That's awesome. You see a lot of trends, some of the stuff that I don't see, particularly about new start businesses at the moment. Tell us about some of that.
Yeah, so part of what we do here, you already know this, but part of what we do here is we do a lot of blogs and videos to inform small business owners, but also people that are interested in becoming small business owners. So some of the things that we're seeing is that there's a lot more content that's being clicked on, basically, because we track that stuff on growing your business, but also on starting a business from scratch.
Right.
A lot of the business articles that I'm seeing around too, when I'm looking other places, are talking about how a lot of the big companies that we know today got their start during a recession.
Right.
So the idea behind this is, whether you're forced to take this plunge into entrepreneurship or whether you just simply pivot your small business to basically maximize and grow during a recession, it can actually yield huge results at basically a discount when you're thinking about it from a marketing perspective.
Right.
So Disney was one of the ones I had no clue came from recessionary time. Yeah.
Oh.
So I think IBM too, but might be making that up. But basically it's just, why not do it now?
Right.
And I think the answer all comes down to whether or not you have money. That would be the why not.
I agree. And confidence as well. There's a lot of people that think that they can't get the funding that they need during this time when, money is tight, banks are looking at all sorts of things and reasons why not to fund you. But what they don't realize is that there are solutions out there for people, particularly ones that help companies start and grow. And if they're on exponential growth curves, if they go and take out an online loan or something like that, they're going to run out of cash very quickly, and that will put them off. One of the things we're finding, I know, is that people are coming to us for our purchase order product in particular. Is that right?
Yeah. So PO funding right now, that's getting so much traction because basically, if you're a mask company right now, that's huge. Everyone needs that. The pain points right now. So it's really a good market to step into.
Right.
What's going to set you apart from the other ones? Well, it's going to be having the ability to make those larger sales to companies like Walmart.
Sure.
Where they're paying you way later, but they expect to have 10,000 units up front.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have the money to make that order in the first place, then you're going to have to turn down that business.
Right.
You're just going to be selling on Etsy and stuff for the rest of your time. And that's going to be hard to turn a profit and have it be like a real main source of your income. That's going to be more supplementary.
I agree.
So, PO funding right now, people are absolutely blowing that up on our website because basically the idea behind it is that, well, you know this, but you get money up front to create that order. You can then sell to Walmart and not really worry about raking in the profit immediately. You have it.
Right.
You have the money to fulfill the order, and then you have the money from the sale instantly.
Exactly.
And you can do that again.
Yeah.
It just keeps building like that.
You're right. And what's important for people out there to remember is that, again, you don't have to have been in business for 3, 6, 12 months. We don't need to see your balance sheet. We're going to underwrite you on the strength of the transaction, your business, and your customers that you're selling to. So if you are able to get that order from, say, a Walmart or a large retailer, then we can help you. We're going to be able to put the facility together. So don't be put off if you're just getting going now. Now is a particularly good time to consider getting into business, or if you're a new start business and worried about getting the financing that you need to grow, think about alternative finance. Some of the other things that we always encourage people that we're talking to, new prospects that are coming to us, is really to get that into that planning mode. Budgeting particularly, I know we've talked about that before. It's essential that once you know you've got the finance, that you look at how you can ramp up your business. We can certainly provide you with the working capital, but don't blow your overheads. Make sure you're doing a lean startup. Keep control of those costs, because otherwise things can get out of hand. especially, if you've got the fuel there that we can provide you to fund it. We don't want it to explode and then you have a problem. So we're going to be helping you with those kind of thoughts as well. But the most important thing is don't be held back by thinking you can't get the financing right now. So other things that we're running into, I think, is, again, that confidence level and people not having the cash on hand, particularly. That's some of the stuff that they're asking us about, right?
Right. And especially just looking at my own experience, if you put yourself through college and you've got all this student debt on your hands, basically, you're having to make all these payments on student loans, banks aren't really going to want to give you another personal loan in order to fund this venture. Mom and dad, they might have cut you off already. So you're pretty much on your own there. So when it comes to taking on more debt, you're probably not going to want to do that, or you're not even going to be able to do that.
Exactly.
That's one of the things when I first started working here that just blew my mind. Debt-free.
Right.
I mean, that speaks to me because, I've been taught all my life since 2008 pretty much to just be against debt, and I don't want to take any more on.
No.
I've never had a business before, so of course I don't have business credit either.
Right.
So they're looking at my personal credit.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of years of history of personal credit. I've got a lot of things that are holding me back when it comes to taking on a loan.
Sure, it's a mindset. And again, not many people know about the type of finance that we provide. Like you said, they'll think about it as personal debt. And obviously those are available to people, but a lot of people don't want to take it, like Kelly was saying. And I think it's important, again, we're not interested in your personal credit score. Again, it's about the nature of your business, who you're selling to. And that's what we're going to underwrite. It isn't debt because you're not having a loan from us. We're advancing funds on the transaction. We're bridging that gap between when you get the order and you fulfill it with your customer. And you're waiting for your customer to get paid. That's what we are fulfilling, that cash flow gap right there. And again, it's not something that you have to make daily, weekly, or monthly repayments on. We're going to get repaid by your customer when the credit terms are up that you've given to them for that sale. Another unforeseen benefit of starting a business right now is that office space is going to be remarkably cheap compared to last year, for sure. And that is because a lot of companies are working remotely. They don't need the space so much. Maybe they're giving up the space. Maybe they've gone out of business, unfortunately. There's certainly companies, even those that are growing, are thinking twice about taking on additional space. So that is pushing the price of office space down. Another great way for a company to perhaps get a bargain deal with a landlord and get into a space that perhaps they previously wouldn't have considered taking on. Another thing we're talking to our prospective clients about is the Payroll Protection Program, PPP loans that were obtained from the SBA. And a lot of companies that took them out took advantage of the great programs that they are, but are a little worried now about whether they can actually get forgiveness for those loans. And if that money has been spent already, we're finding that they are laying people off, sadly. Now, the flip side to that is that there's a lot of quality people on the marketplace looking for work. So again, if you are looking to hire talent at the moment, there's plenty of it available. It's worth having a look.
On the other side of that same coin is that some people are getting laid off and they're saying, what are my options? Nowhere's hiring right now. I might as well just start my own business.
Exactly.
So it's, there's a lot of qualified people that are being hired when they can, when a business is growing. And there's also a lot of people that are qualified and they decide to just be their own boss, which I think is very appealing right now.
Right.
And it's not really about confidence. It's kind of about being shoved into that space, isn't it?
Right, it is. And so people will be thinking about, okay, can I start a business? I have this opportunity. I don't perhaps want to go back and do that job that I did before and get into the rat race. I have an opportunity to do something else. Again, that entrepreneurial spirit is something that we admire greatly here at Eagle, and we support it with our funding programs. So again, if you're thinking of starting a business or growing your business, especially during these difficult recessionary times, here's a few things that I think we're finding are important for you to consider. Firstly, cash. Having cash on hand. You must have it. And whether that's access to some flexible funding sources such as Eagle, or just having it in the bank, that's a must for you as a small business owner.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest barrier for this too, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to go out there and do what they really want to do, what they're passionate about? Well, typically it's going to be having the money to do that.
Exactly.
And having it reliably. I think that's kind of the second point here is that you need to have a reliable source of money that you can draw from.
Right.
If you have $10K in the bank and you burn through it in a couple months and your business really never gets off the ground and you don't have any more access to funding, that's going to be an issue that you're going to find.
Precisely. And having a flexible funding partner is important as well. So, if you are able to land some really good sized orders and you need an increase in your facility, you need a partner that's able to react to that quickly. An example, we've got a staffing company on our books here at Eagle that's recently won a new contract. Staffing, as we come out of the recession, is going to be a massive industry. And so we're helping these clients with increased limits and reduced costs, reduced fees as they grow. This particular client needed something agreed pretty much within the hour in order to help them decide whether to land this new contract or not. We were able to do it.
Yeah. I mean, staffing companies, I know they were huge back in 2008 when we were recovering, starting 2009 and whatnot,
Right.
and I know it's going to be huge again. Why? Because a lot of my friends that lost their jobs, they're applying to these temp positions right now.
Yep.
I mean, these are qualified, well-educated people. Some of them gone through master's programs and whatnot that are just looking for work, looking for an opportunity. So that staffing company, they're going to have just tons of candidates to throw at businesses when this starts to kind of wind down and people are building back up again and
Right.
people are spending.
And they don't want to commit to necessarily a full-time hire. They want to take them on a temp basis. So again, staffing and factoring, they work extremely well together because we can react to those changing needs very, very quickly and responsively. So again, we've talked a lot about cost cutting and keeping control of costs. Factoring is not an expensive way to fund a business. Many people think it is, but it really isn't. And again, compared to some of the alternatives that are out there, it's extremely cost effective because not only are we providing the finance, we're also helping you with the management of your receivables.
Right, which again, super appealing. I'm not a very finance heavy person, which is hilarious because I work here, but I'm more of a creative person and the product I'm pushing is creative product.
Right.
I don't want to deal with the back end stuff. And that's kind of what I like to market, basically. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Right.
You can if you want to.
Yep.
If you're a type A person, you really want to get to know the numbers and you want to put together your own spreadsheets, do it. But the fact that you can just go online and have a dashboard and just show you what your aging is, that's beautiful.
Exactly. And it's that flexibility again and having the information there available so that you can manage your business real time, basically. Another thing to think about is the systems that you're using right now. Are they going to help you as you grow? Don't be pulled in by the frequent emails that I'm sure you get like I do, which is tempting you to a new and shiny product that's just come on or a website or something that you need. But do be aware that there are some tools out there that will make you more efficient as a business. So again, it's about keeping control of those costs as you grow.
Yeah, and I mean, marketing right now, I think that's a really good place to put your money.
Yeah.
Don't just, waste money on PPC and stuff like that if it's not really worked for your business before. But I know that I brought some shiny things to you and said, hey, I think this would really benefit us.
Yeah.
And we saw that it did.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of think of like your marketing budget right now is like on sale.
Right.
A lot of other businesses, marketing's the first thing that gets slashed when a downturn happens.
Yeah.
So there's less competition for those keywords if you are doing PPC.
Yeah.
And there's less competition for some of the other advertisements that you have to bid on, like LinkedIn or YouTube or, wherever your market really lives.
Right. You're exactly right. And again, marketing is one of those first things to get cut as you look at cost cutting, unfortunately, but it's not necessarily the right choice. So be smart about those choices that you're making, be cost effective, but make sure that you're not cutting off a source of new business. So again, if you're thinking of starting or growing your company during a recession, don't be put off by fears of lack of access to working capital. Do give us a call here at Eagle. You can talk to Kelly, you can talk to myself, talk to any of the Eagle team. We'd love to find out about you and your business and what your plans are. Hopefully our thoughts today have been helpful for you. We've enjoyed talking. Thanks again, Kelly.
Of course, thanks for having me.
And look out for us next time on The Money Factor.